All right, let's talk about the Chicago Bears here for a little bit. Look, this team is finishing very strong. They played a whole heck of a lot better over the last few weeks, month and a half or so of football. But there has been a lot of speculation, obviously, about the long-term direction of the Chicago Bears. A lot of that speculation has been really focused on the quarterback position. Obviously, Justin Fields, is he the long-term answer? Do they go quarterback in the draft with the number one overall pick that they have? Some of those questions are valid. I think some concerns are not. But there's actually some speculation at another key position that isn't being addressed quite as much as it should have, because there are some big-time opportunities opening up for the Bears to pull off what I think would be a significant upgrade. And this position involves the head coach. Nothing against Eberflus, but based on some recent reports, there's an opportunity for the Bears to pull off a massive upgrade there at the head coaching ranks. We've got a report. Let's pull it up, and we'll talk about it on the other side. All right, this is according to Sports Mockery, by the way. Jason Lockenfora of the Washington Post wrote a column recently detailing the head coach landscape ahead of the regular season finale. Expectations are that several more jobs could open, with some unexpected names finding a way out of town. One of them is Tennessee Titans head coach Mike Vrabel. Apparently, there's a lot of tension inside the building between him and new GM Rand Carthon. This could lead to the coach finding an exit strategy, and some teams will be interested. You can probably guess one of them. Quote, I keep hearing Vrabel and GM Rand Carthon are not a match. This looks like a rebuilding team, and Vrabel would have a trade value. Rival officials believe that Bears and the Patriots would covet Vrabel. All right, that last sentence, of course, is the really key element there, is that there are a lot of officials that believe, and the report goes on to detail, the Washington Post report, that these rival officials are rival general managers, right? So these aren't like low-level scouts or like beat reporters for teams. These are GMs of opposing teams that think and believe that Vrabel would be coveted by the Chicago Bears. And we all know this. It's just the reality is GMs talk, GMs communicate. A lot of these guys know what each other are thinking, and they know that what they know each other are thinking. So is this an opportunity for the Chicago Bears to potentially get Mike Vrabel? Because it looks like, by all accounts, that there are some issues in Tennessee, and he could be looking for an out. The answer is 100%, if Mike Vrabel should become available, my opinion, that they should go after and acquire him. And the reality is you'd probably have to give up a first-round pick, not the number one overall pick, maybe a future first-round pick to get him. And I think it's the right move. Ask New England Patriots fans how it was getting Bill Belichick in 1999, how that worked out for him, right? I don't hate Eberflus. I think he's done a solid job against the defense. But the reality is Mike Vrabel, what he's done at Tennessee since he showed up there, his culture, we talk about it all the time, the way he develops culture, the way his teams want to fight for him, his physical football winning mentality, that old school football he likes to play, that fits exactly stylistically what the Chicago Bears are trying to do. And again, Eberflus is a good guy. I think he's a smart defensive football mind. I don't think he's a terrible coach. But Vrabel's one of the top 5 or 6 coaches in the league. He's a top 3 or 4 guy focusing on culture alone. If he's available, and by all reports, it looks like him and Tennessee are looking for an out, the Chicago Bears should definitely make a play at him. And based on this report, it looks like they're very interested in doing just that, which I think would be an incredible move for the Chicago Bears. Myles, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this, but Bears fans, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Do you want to keep Eberflus? Would you be interested in Vrabel? What's your opinion on the head coaching situation? Let us know what direction you want the Bears to do this offseason when it comes to the head coach in the comment section below. But Myles, give me your thoughts on this whole Bears situation, and where do you think it could end up?
Yeah, no, I think Eberflus, well, I think one of the two isn't the option. Either Justin Fields isn't quarterback, or Eberflus isn't the coach who can get the most out of a guy like Fields. His culture might not have been right. The situation he was in might not be right. And I feel like when we hear from Bears fans, we hear just from the general heartbeat of the Bears community, a lot more people are a lot more interested in moving on from Eberflus than they are from Fields. There are people who are interested in moving on from Fields, but Eberflus is more enticing to some people. And if that is the case, then I think this Vrabel pickup would be perfect, because we've seen a lot of new coaching strategies in the NFL lately. And one that has been very successful is the player coach. A guy who's played for a long time, they have experience, even played quite recently, actually. And, they have a feel for what it's like in the league. We look at D'Amico Ryan. That's a big one that everyone talks to. Look how much immediate success he has. We look at Mike Vrabel, what he's done in Tennessee, but this guy played up until 2010. He was around the league. He knows what's going on. He has a good general idea of how things go for players in the NFL, and I think that's why he's still liked. That's why he's still respected. And this is a guy that's hot off of a very good coaching performance, although it was a couple years ago. He was the NFL Coach of the Year in 2021. This guy has a lot of talent. Like you said, he's a good defensive mind. He can come in here and really kind of elevate the culture is the most important thing I think he can do. Come in, elevate the culture of this locker room, get guys in that winning mentality. It's almost like a Dan Campbell-esque type of culture shift. I think the Lions are in a very good spot. They're about to change from thinking that they should be winners to thinking that they are winners, but that Dan Campbell culture got them to where they were and where they now. They won the division for the first time in I don't know, 30 plus years. This is what the Bears want. They want a guy that can come in, shift the culture, get the winning mentality, and get this Bears team to a place where they're the ones that are consistently winning this division and trying to make deep playoff runs.
And it feels like there's a little more juice to this than you might think when you go deep, right? Because one of the things that really jump out at me is look at the Atlanta Falcons situation. And a lot of people have talked about if Fields leaves the Chicago Bears, going to the Atlanta Falcons under head coach Arthur Smith would be the best move for Fields to kind of revitalize his career, so-called revitalize his career. What's interesting is there have been reports for weeks now that Arthur Smith could be on the outs in Atlanta, that they could be looking to fire him. They're very disappointed with how the team performed this past season in Atlanta. They felt like they had more talent, and Arthur Smith, with the way he likes to be a head coach and manage the game, let the team down. Arthur Smith is considered a very smart offensive coordinator and great offensive mind. In fact, he had his best success, remember, under Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. So think about this opportunity for a second. You trade for Mike Vrabel, Arthur Smith gets fired, you bring both those guys to Chicago, you bring Justin Fields under Chicago, you use your number one overall pick to get, whatever, most likely a wide receiver, trade out, get just a army of picks. I'd probably trade out the number one overall pick and get however many first round picks you're going to get essentially for Caleb Williams. That's sort of a dream scenario. Because as much crap as Arthur Smith has taken as the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons, he is a great offensive mind. The way he designs and calls plays is outstanding. They've just been terrible at quarterback. That's a big reason why. Justin Fields is much better than anything they've had in Atlanta, and Mike Vrabel comes in and fixes the culture for the Chicago Bears. So it kind of seems like the stars are aligning for this move right here. And look, this is a new Bears leadership. You got Kevin Warren coming into the fold, overseeing this entire organization. We know Ryan Poles, he does things differently than other GMs. He's one of the smarter GMs in football. How many people, I don't think we've ever seen a trade as big and as successful, the number one overall pick trade last offseason. Ryan Poles isn't afraid to pull the trigger to make big moves to help his team out. Again, nothing bad against Eberflus, but let's be honest, his performance as a head coach hasn't been nearly as good as Mike Vrabel has been in the Tennessee Titans. And if you have a generational coach, because one of the things we talk about quarterbacks all the time, but if you have a generational chance at a quarterback, you got to take him. If you got a chance to get a generational coach, you got to take him. And if you're willing to send a first-round pick to the Tennessee Titans to get Mike Vrabel, then maybe potentially add Arthur Smith as an offensive coach under Vrabel in Chicago, folks, that's a dream scenario. And then suddenly Justin Fields looks great. You're going to have just an army of draft capital trading out that number one pick, a lot of cap space. It looks like the future is really shaping up for the Chicago Bears right now. And again, I'm not saying anything terrible against Eberflus. I don't know how many Eberflus defenders there are, but the reality is he is not, based on what we've seen, an elite head coach. Vrabel is, and I think that's why we're seeing some rumors and some reports that the Bears would definitely covet Mike Vrabel if Vrabel were to become available. And by all accounts, it sounds like he will be.